There I was, enjoying my flight. No food, no energy, but suddenly I found bucked up energy drinks and protein drinks that were insanely delicious. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. But like all good things, my time on the island was coming to an end. Although I missed that island, I still feel like $1,000,000.
In the fight, recovery is everything.
Beyond mindset, beyond muscles. They work on that deeper frequency.
After just one track, my thoughts carry more weight.
They recalibrate my whole system.
Elevate your game.
Like a mental reset button.
They synchronize my brainwaves.
That's why I use Rasha.
Real champions use Rasha. Own your excellence. Rasha Scalar Sonic headphones.
Okay, so this is a true story from the Alp archives. Actually, this happened a week ago today. Sitting having coffee with my wife, my hot blonde wife, and she throws in an Alp, 9-milligram tropical fruit, and she looks me straight in the face and says verbatim, "I can't believe there was a time when I didn't have Alp. Thank you for making it." She actually said that to me. Alp, she'll thank you for it. Get some at alppouch.com.
Mohegan Sun as we end our residency, and this place has been amazing so far. All the memories, the fights, the moments, the fighters and the fans, and I have no doubt that'll continue here tonight on the weigh-in show. We're right outside the front of Mohegan Sun Arena, right outside the casino floor, and I was talking to some of these fighters, and they are rip-roaring and ready to go. So am I. I'm excited. How's it going? We're back again. I'm Brian Socia, and I want to introduce you to some of the most beautiful women in all combat sports. I know you like that. I do too. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bare Knuckle Bombshell! Now that you've met the Bare Knuckle Bombshells at home, you haven't met the crowd yet. I want you to meet the crowd because they're always pretty loud. Let's meet them real quick. It's the Mohegan Sun Weigh-In Show crowd. Let's go! I told you they're excited, man. I am too. And a man that always gets excited, you see him at the squared circle, the side of it, going nuts during the fights because he loves this. It's in his heart. It's the owner. It's the founder of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up Mr. David Feldman. And last but certainly not least, the man that's going to take you through the rest of the weigh-in show. He's Mr. Live Worldwide. He's Jeff Houston.
Thank you very much, Brian. And what's going on, Mohegan Sun? Wow! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our favorite place to start a fight in the great state of Connecticut, here at the Mohegan Sun Arena. And we are live worldwide with the BKFC Fight Night Weigh-In Show. As always, we are completely and totally fueled up by Bucked Up, feel like $1,000,000. Now let's talk about the action tomorrow. No gloves, no mercy, no way out inside the squared circle tomorrow, Saturday night, as we get it kicked off here at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Now, how to watch it? Guys, do I really need to tell everybody how to watch BKFC? If you don't know by now, you should, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You're going to check out 3 fights on us on the preview. That's going to be on the BKFC app, the BKFC Instagram page, and the BKFC YouTube page. And that gets kicked off at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with our big card card that we have got coming here. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. There's only one name in the world of bare knuckle fighting, and it starts and finishes with BKFC. Now let's get going on to our first fight, which is going down once again 6 p.m. Eastern Time in the BKFC Women's Bantamweight Division. First to the scale, she holds a pro boxing record of 2 fights and tomorrow makes her BKFC debut from Amarillo, Texas. Here is Nadia 007 Moreno. Nadia Moreno, 134.7. And her opponent tomorrow also making her BKFC debut from Graniteville, Vermont. Here is Sophia Hayes. Sophia Hayes steps on at 134.5. Fight number 1 on our totally stacked card tomorrow. BKFC Fight Night, Mohegan Sun, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Women's Bantamweight Division. Sophia Hayes taking on Nadia Moreno. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to the great state of Connecticut, we always love coming back to Mohegan Sun. How many true BKFC die-hard, hardcore fans do we have here today? That's all that we ask, is that you guys love it when we start a fight. Next up, we move along to the BKFC Light Heavyweight Division. First to the scale, his BKFC record stands at 2 victories opposite a single defeat. From Hurricane, Utah, here is David the Sandman Sanchez. David Sanchez steps on 188 1/2 pounds. And his opponent steps into the squared circle tomorrow, ready for bare knuckle fight number 2. From Somersworth, New Hampshire, here is David Burke. David Burke steps on at an identical 188 1/2 pounds. Fight number 2 on the Freeview BKFC Light Heavyweight Division, David Burke and David Sanchez. The lights are bright and the fights are intense as we move on to the next fight in the BKFC welterweight division. First to the scale, his pro boxing record stands at 2 fights and tomorrow makes his BKFC debut. From Memphis, Tennessee, here is Josh Jigsaw Whiteside. Josh Whiteside steps on at 164.7. And his opponent holds a bare knuckle fighting record standing at 1 fight and tomorrow makes his official BKFC debut from Haverhill, Massachusetts, by way of Lawrence, Massachusetts. Here is Isaiah Profound Williams. Isaiah Williams, an identical 164.7. Fight number 3, Mohegan Sun Arena, Isaiah Williams and Josh Whiteside. And our next fight, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way in the BKFC light heavyweight division. First to the scale, his pro boxing record stands at 6 victories opposite 2 defeats and holds a BKFC record at 1-1 from Middletown, Delaware. And he is armed with his lightning bolt. Ladies and gentlemen, Maurice, the God of War, Horne. Maurice Horne, 187.7. And his opponent holds an undefeated BKFC record at 2-0 from Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Here is the undefeated Joe Bam Bam Peters. Joe Peters steps on 189.7. And what a face-off this is. We have got the Bam Bam squaring off against the God of War, the undefeated Joe Peters taking on Maurice Horne. Now it's time to introduce the big boys of the BKFC heavyweight division. First to the scale, his pro boxing record stands at 7 fights, and tomorrow he toes the line for the 3rd time. From Broward County, Florida, here is Joe the Punisher White. Joe White steps on 263.2. And his opponent holds an MMA record of 13 fights and an undefeated BKFC record at 2-0 from Waterbury, Connecticut, by way of Porto Alegre, Brazil. Here is the undefeated Guilherme Viana. Guilherme Viana, 257 even. One of the most dynamic divisions in BKFC, the heavyweight division, big hands, bad intentions. The undefeated Guilherme Viana and Joe White. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we move along to the BKFC Women's Flyweight Division. First to the scale. Tomorrow, she makes her BKFC debut from Hudson, Florida, by way of Senatobia, Mississippi. Here is Ruthless Taylor Dagner. Dagner, 125.2. And her opponent holds an MMA record of 2 victories opposite 2 defeats, and tomorrow makes her BKFC debut. From Milford, Connecticut, here is Alexandra, the Great Ballou. Alexandra Ballou, 124.7. Now this is going to be a fun fight. We have 2 female warriors towing the line for the very first time tomorrow here at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Women's flyweight division, Alexandra Ballou and Taylor Dagner. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we move along to the BKFC middleweight division. First to the scale, his MMA record stands at 5 fights, and tomorrow he steps into the squared circle ready for bare knuckle fight number 4. From Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, here is Adam Castle de Freitas. Adam de Freitas, 174 1/2 pounds. And his opponent holds an MMA record of 11 victories opposite 3 defeats and an undefeated BKFC record at 2-0. From Cranston, Rhode Island, here is the undefeated Gary Batman Balletto. Gary Balletto steps on at 175.2. Now this is where the fights really start getting interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Fight number 7 in the middleweight division, the undefeated Gary Balletto taking on Adam de Freitas. All right. Next up, we have the BKFC Featherweight division. First to the scale, his pro boxing record stands at 3 victories, opposite 2 defeats, and he is ready to toe the line for bare knuckle fight number 7. From Helena, Montana, here is Timmy Mason. Timmy Mason weighs in at 146 even. And his opponent holds a pro boxing record of 14 fights, an undefeated bare knuckle fighting record at 5-0, and tomorrow makes his official BKFC debut. From Lawrence, Massachusetts, by way of Haverhill, Massachusetts, here is Harry the Hitman Gigliotti. Harry Gigliotti, 144 1/2 pounds. Another exciting fight. Anything can happen inside the squared circle. In the featherweight division, Harry Gigliotti taking on Timmy Mason.
Let's go, Harry! Let's go, Harry!
And now we present to you your BKFC Fight Night feature fight. This going down in the BKFC lightweight division. First to the scale, his MMA record stands at 18 fights and holds a BKFC record of 2 victories opposite a single defeat. From Greencastle, Pennsylvania, here is Elijah, the Buffalo Soldier Harris. Elijah Harris steps on at 150.7. And his opponent holds an MMA record of 11 victories opposite 2 defeats and is undefeated in the BKFC squared circle at 3-0. From Peabody, Massachusetts, here is the undefeated Rico DiSciullo. Rico DiSciullo weighs in at 151 even. Here is your feature fight of the night in the lightweight division. The undefeated Rico DiSciullo taking on Elijah Harris. And here comes your BKFC Fight Night co-main event in the BKFC Middleweight division. First to the scale, his BKFC record stands at 3 victories opposite 3 defeats, and this man is incapable of having a boring fight. From Kansas City, Kansas, here is Zeb C.W.B. Vincent. Zeb Vincent steps on at 172.2. And his opponent holds an MMA record of 19 fights and a BKFC record of 3 victories opposite 2 defeats. From Springfield, Massachusetts, here is Pat the Gorilla Ninja Casey. Pat Casey steps on at 174.7. These are 2 bare-knuckle hard hitters, and it is going to be all over the place tomorrow in the squared circle with your co-main event, Pat Casey and Zeb Vincent.
All right, Zeb, come here, Zeb. Come here, I want to talk to you, man. Look, you've been here for a while. I think 6 fights. This is your 7th fight. I want you to talk directly to Pat over there, and I want you to let him know what makes you different than anyone he's ever fought before.
I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. At 175 pounds in the BKFC, I'm the best. That's what makes me different. Tomorrow night, the whole world sees.
We're looking forward to tomorrow night. I'll come over here to Pat. And Pat, now you were looking in this guy's eyes. You guys are tussling around. You heard what he just said. But when you look into his eyes, when you see him up here, what makes you think that maybe he's not on your level and you're going to beat him tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we're going to show who's on whose level. You know, I'm not here to talk and say I'm his level. That ain't really going to matter. What matters is going to happen in the fight. I respect him as a fighter. I think I'm a way better fighter, and I'm just going to go out there and show it tomorrow. That's all.
I know it's going to be a banger. I know we're excited for it, right? It's going to be amazing. We're looking forward to the co-main event tomorrow night right here at Mohegan Sun. Pat Casey and Zeb Vincent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your BKFC Fight Night main event going down in the BKFC Heavyweight Division. First to the scale, his BKFC record stands at 4 victories opposite a single defeat. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, here is HAZE, the Hooligan Wilson. HAZE WILSON, 258.2. And his opponent, he is an MMA veteran with 23 fights on his record and holds an undefeated BKFC record at 3-0 from West Hartford, Connecticut, by way of New Britain, Connecticut. Here is the undefeated Porter. Porter, 251 even. Here it is, your main event tomorrow, BKFC Fight Night, Mohegan Sun. In the BKFC heavyweight division, the undefeated Porter toes the line against HAZE WILSON.
HAZE, I want to talk to you, HAZE. You're fighting a guy who has momentum on his side, knockouts. He's a hometown boy. He's 3-0. What makes you think you're going to be the guy to give him the first loss?
Man, I'm fighting my doppelganger. We look a lot alike, so I know he hits hard because I hit hard. Bare knuckle can go any way. It's a knife fight. I love battle. Connecticut, I'm just here to go to battle.
He was excited to get in and smash, right? I love it. Get in and punch people in the face. And then here he is, man. He's back again. We've been watching you on a tear in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And you look at this man who was just saying that about you. He's a big guy. You're a big guy. But what makes you think you're going to continue your run here? What makes you think that he's not going to derail you, man?
Well, it has to do with the fact that we look like we could be twins. And, I tend to hate myself a little more often than I love myself. So I think that's in my favor.
That's a great answer, man. We're looking forward to it tomorrow night. Some heavyweight action. Somebody's getting knocked out, right? Right, Mohegan Sun, let's go! Jeff Houston, back to you.
All right, that is a wrap for the official BKFC Fight Night weigh-in show. Thank you for joining us just outside of the Mohegan Sun Arena. We will see you tomorrow inside the arena, and you can check us out on the BKFC app. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we promise to make that night as violent as possible. Let's knuckle up, Connecticut.